Imagine you are standing at the edge of a vast ocean, looking out at the endless horizon. Waves crash, one after another, and yet you feel no disturbance within yourself. It's as if the storm is happening outside of you, and your mind remains still, untouched by the chaos. This is the power of healing from within, a kind of peace that no external force can shake. Have you ever felt lost in the noise of your daily life, overwhelmed by responsibilities, expectations, and emotions that seem to take control of your every thought? Do you often wonder if it's possible to truly find peace without needing anyone else to help you? Or perhaps you've asked yourself, how can I heal when everything around me seems to be falling apart? Now, imagine the possibility that everything you need to heal yourself is already within you. What if the answers to your pain, your struggles, and your doubts are already hidden deep inside your heart and mind? It may seem impossible, but the wisdom of ancient teachings like Buddhism can show us the path. Let me share with you a simple example. Think of a garden. When weeds grow, they begin to take over, but the moment you pull them out, the garden begins to heal. The soil, the roots, they have always had the potential for growth, and once freed from what was unwanted, the beauty can flourish. Similarly, your mind, when freed from negative thought patterns and attachments, can heal and create space for joy and inner peace. Welcome to Wisdom Woven. If you're ready to take the first step toward healing yourself, you're in the right place. This journey may take time, but with the right mindset, it will transform your life. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel for more powerful insights. There are so many views on this channel, but only 0.2% of people actually subscribe. So please, like, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel. And drop down your thoughts in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. Let's begin. The first step towards healing is realizing that the answers are within. As we explore together, I will guide you through the process of understanding how you can tap into that inner strength, starting with the simple but powerful idea that you can heal yourself without relying on anyone else. Understanding suffering, the root of our pain. When we speak of healing, it is essential to first understand what we are healing from. Many of us walk through life carrying invisible burdens, our hearts and minds weighed down by pain, confusion, and dissatisfaction. But what if I told you that much of this suffering we endure is born from our own misunderstanding of life, our thoughts, and our emotions? Suffering is not a foreign concept. It is something everyone experiences in one way or another. It's easy to look at someone else's life and think they have it all together. But behind every smile, there may be unseen battles. The truth is, suffering is a part of the human experience. It's a universal truth, but it's how we approach it that defines our peace. We often think of suffering as something that happens to us from the outside. It could be an illness, the loss of a loved one, a financial setback, or a conflict with someone close to us. But Buddhism teaches us that true suffering arises not from the external world, but from how we relate to the world, how we react to it, and the expectations we place on it. In fact, much of our pain is born from a deep attachment to things, people, and situations. The more tightly we grip them, the more pain we create when they slip away. Have you ever felt a deep sense of sadness or frustration when something in your life was taken from you, whether it was a job, a relationship, or a phase of life? This is suffering in its purest form, the pain of attachment. But suffering doesn't end with attachment. Another root of suffering lies in our constant craving and desire for more. We desire comfort, success, love, and happiness. But in the chase for these things, we often forget that true peace is not found in the next achievement, the next possession, or the next relationship. No matter how much we gain, there's always a deeper craving that follows. This constant desire, this never-ending yearning for more, is a trap. We get caught in it, thinking that if we could just have this one thing, everything will be all right. But that's never the case. The moment we gain one desire, another arises. The Buddhist teachings call this the wheel of samsara, the cycle of birth, life, death, and rebirth. It's a cycle that repeats itself because of our attachment and craving. We keep coming back to the same patterns again and again, hoping for a different result. But until we let go of these attachments, we remain trapped. The cycle continues, and our suffering lingers. But there is good news. The first step in overcoming suffering is simply to recognize that it exists, to acknowledge that we are suffering, and to understand the roots of that pain. This is where the path to healing begins, by understanding that we are the cause of much of our own suffering. This realization may feel heavy at first, but it is the first step toward freedom. If we create our own suffering, then surely we have the power to stop it. This awareness alone does not heal us, but it is a powerful tool. It allows us to see the thoughts and patterns that trigger our suffering. Once we understand these patterns, we can start to break them, just like an artist who sees the rough shape of a sculpture before they begin chiseling away at the stone. Imagine for a moment that you are holding a heavy weight in your hands, perhaps an emotional burden you've been carrying for years. This weight could be a past trauma, a regret, or an unresolved conflict. As you carry it, it becomes harder and harder to move forward. But what happens if you simply let go of the weight? The burden lifts, and you are free to move. This is the essence of understanding suffering. It is not about eliminating all pain from our lives. That is impossible. Pain will come and go, just as joy will. But by understanding the causes of our suffering, we can choose to release what binds us to it. We can stop holding on to the past and let go of the things that no longer serve us. And what are the things we cannot control, like the pain we feel when we lose someone we love, or the sorrow of a life unfulfilled? These are natural, human experiences. The Buddha did not teach that we should not feel sadness or grief. Rather, he taught that we should not cling to these feelings, that we should not identify ourselves with them. Grief is a visitor. It comes and it goes. It doesn't need to define us. So, when we face pain and suffering, we can choose to experience it fully, without fear, knowing that it is temporary. We can acknowledge it, feel it, and then allow it to pass. We do not need to carry it forever. This leads us to another essential aspect of healing: acceptance. Healing is not about avoiding pain, it's about accepting it. This does not mean resigning ourselves to suffering or becoming passive in our lives. It means embracing life as it is, with all its ups and downs, without fighting against reality. Acceptance gives us the power to act from a place of peace rather than resistance. Acceptance also means that we stop blaming others for our suffering. It's easy to point fingers when we feel hurt. We might say, "They did this to me," or "If only this hadn't happened, I would be happy." But the truth is, no one else has the power to make us suffer unless we give them that power. When we blame others, we give away our peace. When we accept responsibility for our own suffering, we reclaim our peace. The Buddha's teachings on suffering invite us to ask difficult questions. Why do we hold on to pain? Why do we allow our desires to control us? Why do we cling to the past? These questions may not have immediate answers, but they are the starting point for deep reflection and transformation. And so, understanding suffering is not about eliminating it entirely. It's about changing our relationship with it. It's about learning that suffering, though painful, is an opportunity for growth, an invitation to look within and discover what needs healing. We are not broken beyond repair. We are simply unhealed in certain areas of our hearts and minds. In the next steps, we will explore how to ease this suffering and find a path toward lasting peace. But for now, remember this: you are not your suffering. You are not defined by your pain. You are the one who has the power to heal. When you understand the root of your suffering, you can begin to let it go and open the door to freedom. The path is long, and it may be challenging, but every step you take toward understanding is a step toward healing. The power of awareness. observing without judgment. The most important thing I can tell you is this: you have the power to observe. You may not always be able to control what happens in your life, but you always have the ability to observe it. It's a quiet yet powerful ability that can change everything for you. Imagine if you could simply observe your thoughts, your feelings, your actions, without judgment. What would happen if, instead of reacting to every little thing that upsets you, you simply watched it unfold, like a movie on a screen? Would the world seem so overwhelming? Would the little things that disturb you still feel so heavy? This is the essence of awareness. Now, let's think about how we usually interact with the world. When we are caught in the flow of life, we tend to react to everything that happens around us. Someone says something that hurts our feelings, and instantly, we react. We might snap back, feel angry, or withdraw. But what if, instead of reacting, we could simply observe those feelings as they arise? What if we could see the anger, sadness, or frustration without allowing them to control us? This is what mindfulness teaches us. Awareness is the key. It's not about denying your emotions or pretending they don't exist. No, it's about acknowledging them, seeing them clearly, and not allowing them to define you or your actions. You are not your thoughts or your feelings. You are the one observing them. Imagine being able to sit with your thoughts without letting them drag you around. You would see them for what they truly are: temporary, fleeting, and often meaningless in the grand scheme of life. Let me give you an example. Picture yourself sitting by a peaceful river. The water flows gently, and as you watch, you see leaves drifting by. You might notice a few that are stuck, caught on a rock or a branch. Now, imagine your thoughts as these leaves. Some float by effortlessly, while others get stuck and linger. Instead of chasing after them or getting frustrated with them, you simply observe. The leaves are there, floating, and eventually, they move on. Your thoughts are like those leaves. They come and go. Some stay a little longer, but they always move on. And you, as the observer, don't need to chase them. You just watch them pass by, unaffected. This practice of awareness helps you detach from the constant need to react. When we react, we become entangled in the web of our emotions and thoughts. But when we observe, we remain free. We understand that we are not controlled by our thoughts. They are like clouds passing through the sky, sometimes dark and heavy, other times light and fluffy. But no matter the shape or color, they are always passing. They don't stay forever. You may be thinking, but how do I start observing without judging? The first step is to be gentle with yourself. Awareness isn't about being perfect or always being in control. It's about being present and allowing yourself to experience life as it is, without trying to change it. When you feel anger rising, instead of pushing it away or acting on it, just notice it. Anger is here, you might say to yourself. And then, just let it be. Don't try to fix it or get rid of it. Don't tell yourself, I shouldn't feel this way. Just acknowledge it and let it pass. Over time, this simple act of observing without judgment will create a space of peace within you. You will start to see that you are not your emotions. You are not your thoughts. You are the one who watches them. And when you become the observer, you free yourself from the constant tug-of-war between your thoughts and your emotions. You stop being a slave to your reactions, and you begin to live in a way that is more peaceful, more intentional, and more connected to the present moment. In Buddhism, this practice is known as mindfulness. It's the act of bringing your full attention to the present moment, without judgment. It's not about trying to control your thoughts or force yourself to feel a certain way. It's about allowing yourself to fully experience what's happening right now, without any resistance. And through this simple act of awareness, you can begin to heal yourself. Because when you observe your thoughts and emotions, you create space. And in that space, healing can begin. Now, imagine going through a day where you are fully aware of each moment. You wake up in the morning, and instead of rushing to check your phone or start your to-do list, you take a few moments to simply breathe. You notice the sunlight coming through the window. You hear the birds outside. You feel your body in the chair. And in that moment, you are fully present. No judgments, no distractions, just awareness. As you move through your day, you continue to practice awareness. When you feel stress building up at work or in a conversation, you don't immediately react. You simply notice. I feel stressed right now, you tell yourself. And that's it. You don't have to change it or fix it. Just acknowledging it without judgment is enough. And when the stress fades, as it always does, you're left with a calm mind, not one that has been overwhelmed by the situation. This practice of awareness is powerful because it breaks the cycle of automatic reactions. How many times have you reacted without thinking, only to regret it later? How many times have you acted out of habit, not realizing that your reactions were based on old patterns and beliefs? When you start practicing awareness, you begin to break those patterns. You start to see that you don't have to react in the same way every time something triggers you. You can choose a different response, one that is grounded in presence and peace. And as you continue to practice awareness, you will notice something else, a deep sense of compassion for yourself. You will begin to realize that it's okay to feel what you feel. It's okay to have difficult emotions. You don't need to run from them or push them away. They are just part of being human. When you observe without judgment, you create a space of kindness for yourself. You allow yourself to be exactly who you are, without any shame or guilt. Awareness is the foundation of healing because it helps you see things as they truly are. It allows you to let go of the stories you've been telling yourself, the judgments you've been holding, and the patterns that have been keeping you stuck. And in that clarity, healing can begin. You don't need anyone else to heal you. You have the ability within yourself to heal, simply by observing, simply by being present. The more you practice awareness, the more you will see that the world around you becomes less overwhelming. You will find yourself responding with calmness, rather than reacting with frustration or fear. And as your mind becomes more peaceful, your life will begin to reflect that peace. You will start to experience healing from the inside out, because healing begins with awareness. So, take a moment today to simply observe. Sit quietly for a few minutes, close your eyes, and breathe deeply. Notice what you're feeling. Notice what's going on in your mind. Don't try to change anything. Just observe. And remember, this is the beginning of your healing journey. The power of awareness is always with you, waiting for you to embrace it. Detachment, freeing yourself from emotional chains. Imagine a bird flying freely in the sky. It soars high, its wings spread wide, unburdened by anything below. It moves with the wind, shifting its course with ease, never clinging to anything for too long. This bird represents the ideal state of detachment, free from the heavy ties that often bind us to pain, regret, and suffering. But you may ask, how can I be like that bird? How can I let go of the things that weigh me down when everything around me demands so much from me? It's not easy, especially when we've been conditioned to attach ourselves to things, people, emotions, and even memories. We are taught that attachment is a sign of love, loyalty, and connection, but in reality, attachment often turns into a source of suffering. Consider how we hold on to old grudges. When someone hurts us, we carry that wound with us. We replay it over and over in our minds, letting it dictate our emotions and our actions. The pain from the past keeps us trapped, preventing us from fully living in the present. The same happens with material possessions. We hold on to things we don't really need, finding comfort in the idea that they define us or make us feel secure. But in doing so, we make ourselves prisoners of our own desires. Detachment, however, does not mean that we stop caring or stop loving. It simply means that we learn to let go of the need to control, to possess, and to cling to things outside of ourselves. In Buddhism, detachment is seen as a form of wisdom. It's the understanding that everything is impermanent. Nothing lasts forever. People, situations, and even emotions come and go. By letting go of our attachment to these things, we free ourselves from the constant cycle of craving and suffering. Think about it for a moment. How much of your day is spent chasing after things that ultimately do not bring lasting happiness? How much of your mind is preoccupied with the past or the future, filled with worries about what's gone wrong or what might go wrong? The truth is, we often waste so much of our energy holding on to things that no longer serve us. But detachment gives us the freedom to live in the present, to experience life as it truly is, without the weight of unnecessary baggage. The Buddha taught that attachment is one of the main causes of suffering. When we cling to people, things, or even our own identity, we create tension in our lives. We start to believe that our happiness depends on these external factors. But true happiness comes from within. It comes from the ability to let go of what no longer serves us and embrace the present moment, just as it is. Let's say you've experienced a painful loss, perhaps the end of a relationship or the death of a loved one. In these moments, it's natural to grieve, but attachment to the past keeps you trapped in sorrow. It's like trying to hold on to the image of a person who has left. The more tightly you grip, the more painful it becomes. True healing happens when you begin to accept the reality of impermanence. The people we love will come and go, and so will many other things in life. But the love, the lessons, and the memories they leave behind are part of you. Detaching does not erase them. It simply allows you to carry them with grace, without being overwhelmed by their absence. This principle of detachment also applies to our possessions. Often, we believe that having more things will bring us happiness. We work hard, save money, and accumulate possessions, hoping that they will make us feel more secure, more fulfilled. But in truth, the more we cling to material things, the more we find ourselves tied to them. They begin to define us, and we fear losing them. But when we practice detachment, we realize that we do not need these things to feel complete. Our worth is not determined by what we own, but by who we are at our core. It's important to understand that detachment does not mean renouncing everything or living without any possessions. Instead, it's about changing our relationship to things. It's about not allowing our happiness to depend on them. When we can appreciate what we have without clinging to it, we experience a deeper sense of freedom. You may still enjoy material things, but they no longer control your life. You can let them come and go without feeling like you've lost a part of yourself when they're gone. In relationships, detachment doesn't mean that we stop loving or caring for others. It means that we understand that we cannot control other people's actions or decisions. We cannot hold on to someone's love or affection, and we cannot force someone to be who we want them to be. True love is rooted in freedom, not attachment. When we love without clinging, we create space for the other person to be themselves, and we allow ourselves the freedom to be ourselves as well. Love becomes a beautiful flow, not a suffocating force. This kind of detachment requires practice. It doesn't happen overnight. We've spent a lifetime building attachments, and it takes time to unlearn old patterns. But the first step is awareness. The more you become aware of the things you are attached to, the more you can begin to let go. Start small. Notice when you are clinging to a thought, a memory, or an object. Ask yourself, do I really need this? Will this bring me peace, or will it create more suffering? As you begin to detach, you will start to feel lighter. You will begin to see that the things you once thought you needed to be happy are not as important as you once believed. In fact, you may even find that the more you let go, the more fulfilled you become. You create space for new experiences, new relationships, and new opportunities to flow into your life. Detachment is not about being cold or indifferent. It's about living with an open heart, free from the chains of desire and fear. It's about accepting life as it is, with all its joys and sorrows, without holding on to the past or worrying about the future. When you practice detachment, you begin to see life through the lens of wisdom. You understand that everything is in constant flux, and that the only thing you truly have control over is your own response to the world around you. So, the next time you find yourself clinging to something, whether it's a material possession, a past memory, or an expectation, ask yourself, can I let go of this? Can I release this attachment and free myself from its grip? The answer may surprise you. And when you begin to practice detachment, you'll discover a sense of freedom and peace that you've never known before. The bird that soars freely in the sky, that could be you, living a life of freedom, unburdened by the weight of attachment. Silence and solitude, finding healing in stillness. There is a power in silence that many of us overlook. We are constantly surrounded by noise, the noise of traffic, conversations, social media, even our own racing thoughts. But within the silence, there is peace. In the stillness, there is healing. In this world, where we're taught to always stay busy, to always fill the silence with something, it's hard to understand the true power of doing nothing. Yet, in Buddhism, silence is not something to be feared or avoided. It is a sacred space where we reconnect with ourselves, where we discover our true nature. Take a moment and think about your day. How much of it is spent in noise? How many hours are consumed with talking, working, or simply filling time with distractions? It's not easy, is it? Most of us are afraid of silence because it brings us face to face with ourselves. We fill the quiet moments with worry, doubt, and fear. But silence isn't the enemy. It's the gateway to healing. In Buddhist teachings, silence is often seen as the space where we can listen to our true thoughts, untainted by the noise of the outside world. It's in this silence that we can truly begin to understand what's going on in our minds and hearts. How often do you take a moment to sit quietly with yourself? Not to think about your to-do list, not to worry about the future, but just to be. Just to listen to your breath, to feel the presence of your body in the moment. When was the last time you gave yourself permission to be still? It's a simple thing, yet so many of us struggle to do it. We fear that in stillness, we will face uncomfortable truths, emotions that we've been avoiding, or memories that we'd rather not confront. But here's the truth. In that silence, there is freedom. In the absence of distractions, you find the space to heal. Think about a time when you were overwhelmed, stressed, or anxious. What did you do? Did you reach out to someone for advice? Or did you try to escape the feeling with activity? How often do we run from ourselves, afraid to sit in the quiet of our own minds? But the more we run, the more the pain chases us. In the quiet, we learn to face the discomfort, and, in time, it loses its power over us. It's important to note that this isn't the same kind of silence that isolates us from the world. The silence I'm talking about is not loneliness. It's the silence of self-awareness, the silence that allows us to truly listen to our own heart and mind. It's a kind of solitude that brings us back to our center, where we reconnect with the core of who we are. In Buddhism, this is often referred to as inner stillness, the calm that comes when we cease our endless chasing of distractions. By being still, we create space for clarity. The noise of the world often clouds our judgment, makes us react impulsively. But in silence, we can observe our thoughts and emotions without judgment. We can notice patterns in our thinking, and gradually, we begin to understand the root of our suffering. This understanding is the first step toward healing. Think about your breath. It's always there, constantly flowing in and out. But how often do you notice it? How often do you stop and take a deep breath, fully aware of the sensation as it moves through your body? When we are still, we reconnect with the most basic, fundamental part of being alive. This simple act of breathing can bring us back to the present moment and provide a sense of calm. In Buddhism, there is a practice called mindfulness of breathing, simply sitting, breathing, and being present with each breath. This practice helps quiet the mind, making room for healing and understanding. Sometimes, silence isn't just about finding peace within. It's also about creating space for deeper insight. Have you ever found that, in the quiet moments, your best ideas come to you? Or perhaps, in the stillness, you find a sense of understanding you didn't have before? Silence allows us to hear the whispers of our soul, the quiet guidance that leads us toward healing. The challenge, of course, is that silence is often uncomfortable at first. When we first begin to embrace stillness, our mind may race with thoughts, emotions, and memories that we'd rather not face. But this discomfort is a sign that something is shifting within us. It's a signal that we are beginning to let go of old patterns and habits. Just as a storm passes, so too do these thoughts and feelings. If we sit with them, observe them, and allow them to come and go, they lose their grip on us. In Buddhist meditation, this practice is called observing the mind. It's not about trying to stop your thoughts, but rather becoming aware of them without getting caught up in them. When we sit in silence, we begin to realize that we are not our thoughts. We are the observer, the stillness beyond the mind. This realization is transformative because it frees us from being controlled by the fluctuations of our thoughts and emotions. The more we practice silence, the more we begin to understand that peace isn't something that needs to be sought outside of us. It's always been there, waiting to be discovered. We simply have to stop, listen, and let go of the noise. When we do, we find that peace isn't just a temporary state. It becomes a part of who we are. Now, think of solitude as a form of self-care. When you step away from the distractions of the world, you make space for your own healing. Solitude allows you to be with yourself in a way that few other things can. It's in solitude that we find the clarity to make decisions that are in alignment with our true self. It's in solitude that we can rest, reflect, and recharge, without needing anyone else to validate our feelings or thoughts. We often think that to heal, we need to talk to someone, that we need advice, that we need others to help us figure things out. But sometimes, the greatest healing happens when we allow ourselves the space to simply be. When we stop searching for answers and instead sit in the quiet, we begin to discover the answers already within us. In Buddhism, this is where true wisdom arises. Wisdom doesn't come from the noise of the world. It doesn't come from the voices of others. It arises in the silence of our own hearts, when we are brave enough to listen. As you go forward in life, try to carve out moments of silence each day. It could be as simple as 5 minutes in the morning, sitting quietly before the world wakes up. Or maybe it's a walk in nature, where you leave your phone behind and simply take in the sights, sounds, and smells of the world around you. Let silence be your teacher. Let it guide you back to yourself, back to your inner wisdom. In the end, healing is not something we can force or rush. It's a journey that requires patience, presence, and above all, silence. In that silence, you will find the space to heal, to grow, and to rediscover the peace that has always been within you. It's not about fixing something that's broken, but rather allowing yourself to return to your natural state of balance, clarity, and calm. The Four Noble Truths, Buddhist blueprint for inner healing. In life, we all experience suffering. It's unavoidable. No matter who we are, where we come from, or what we do, suffering finds its way into our lives. It could be in the form of emotional pain, physical discomfort, loss, or even the simple feeling of unease that sometimes follows us like a shadow. But what if I told you that suffering is not just something to be endured, but something that can actually lead to your healing? The Four Noble Truths, taught by the Buddha, are a simple yet profound guide to understanding our suffering and finding a way to overcome it. These truths are not just abstract concepts or ancient teachings. They are practical and deeply relevant to your life today. They provide a blueprint for transforming your suffering into peace and healing, a way to look at your pain with new eyes and a new heart. The first noble truth is the truth of suffering, or dukkha. This doesn't mean that life is entirely bad, but rather that life, as we experience it, is marked by impermanence. Everything in life changes: our bodies, our relationships, our emotions, and with change comes discomfort. When things change in ways we don't want, we experience suffering. But this is not a punishment. It's simply a part of being human. It's not about escaping suffering, but understanding it. This truth might feel heavy at first, but the Buddha did not teach it to burden us. He taught it to show us that suffering is not something to be afraid of. It is a natural part of life, a part that connects all of us. It is the first step toward healing. When we acknowledge our suffering, we start to understand what is truly going on inside us. We stop running from it and start looking at it closely. Only then can we begin to heal. The second noble truth is the truth of the cause of suffering, or samadhi. The cause of suffering is attachment. We cling to things, to people, to ideas, to expectations, and when they change or are taken away, we feel pain. We desire things to stay the same, to be permanent, to give us lasting happiness. But this desire itself is the cause of our pain. We are attached to the idea of control, of getting what we want, of holding on to things we believe will give us peace. But in reality, this attachment only brings more suffering. Think about a time when you felt disappointed or hurt by something that didn't go as you hoped. Maybe you expected something from someone, or you thought life would be a certain way, and when it wasn't, you felt pain. This pain didn't come from the external world. It came from your attachment to your desires, your expectations, your need for things to go as you imagined. When we can let go of our attachment to these desires, we begin to loosen the grip of suffering. The third noble truth is the truth of the cessation of suffering, or nirodha. This truth shows us that it is possible to end suffering, but not in the way we might expect. It's not about running away from our pain, avoiding it, or numbing it. It's about letting go of attachment, of releasing our need to control. When we stop clinging, when we stop wishing for things to be different than they are, we make space for peace to enter. True peace comes when we accept life as it is, with all its imperfections, with all its changes. It's like holding a flower in your hands. If you grip it tightly, the petals will break. But if you hold it gently, it will bloom. The same is true for your life. When you stop trying to force things into place, when you stop holding on so tightly to the past or future, you make room for things to unfold naturally. And in that unfolding, you will find the end of your suffering. The fourth noble truth is the truth of the path that leads to the cessation of suffering, or magga. This path is not a single step, but a journey. It's the way of wisdom, ethical conduct, and mental discipline. It's a way of living that brings balance, harmony, and peace to your life. The Buddha laid out the Eightfold Path, a guide that shows us how to live in a way that helps us let go of attachment and find freedom from suffering. But what's important to understand is that this path is not just a set of rules or practices. It's a way of life, a way of being. The path begins with right understanding. This means seeing the world as it truly is, without the lens of desire, without the fog of attachment. It's about understanding the nature of suffering and how it arises, and recognizing that healing is possible. It also involves right intention, choosing to act with kindness, compassion, and wisdom, rather than from a place of greed, hatred, or ignorance. From there, the path moves into right speech, right action, and right livelihood, living in a way that is ethical and compassionate. When we speak with truth and kindness, when we act in ways that cause no harm, when we live in a way that is honest and aligned with our values, we create a life that supports our healing. The next part of the path is right effort, making the effort to cultivate positive states of mind and to abandon harmful ones. It's about training your mind, little by little, to become more peaceful, more focused, more loving. This requires practice, patience, and perseverance. But as you continue on the path, you will begin to see the results. Right mindfulness comes next. This is about being aware of your thoughts, feelings, and actions at each moment, without judgment. It's about observing your inner world as it is, without trying to change or fix anything. Through mindfulness, you can begin to understand the nature of your suffering and how to let go of it. And finally, the path leads to right concentration, the ability to focus your mind in a way that brings clarity and peace. Through meditation and focused attention, you can train your mind to stay present, to remain calm even in the midst of difficulty. This concentration is not just about stillness, but about cultivating the deep wisdom that comes from seeing things clearly. The Four Noble Truths are not just teachings from the past. They are practical tools for today. They show us that suffering is a part of life, but it doesn't have to define us. Through understanding its causes and following the path that leads to its cessation, we can find healing. It's a process, a journey, but the destination is worth it, a life of peace, freedom, and joy. In this path, this healing is available to you right now. All it requires is the willingness to see things differently, to let go of attachment, and to walk the path of wisdom with an open heart. The Eightfold Path, practical steps to self-renewal. As we walk the path of life, we often find ourselves stumbling over obstacles, whether it's stress, confusion, or a sense of being stuck. The journey inward, towards healing and true peace, might seem daunting at first. But what if I told you that there's a practical guide, a roadmap, that has been helping people for over 2,000 years to find their way back to inner harmony? That guide is called the Eightfold Path, and it's one of the most powerful teachings of Buddhism. The Eightfold Path is like a treasure map that leads us toward a life of balance, peace, and understanding. It's not something you need to achieve in one day or even 1 year. It's a gradual unfolding, like planting a seed and watching it grow over time. Each step on the path helps to unravel a part of you that may have been clouded by doubt, fear, or pain. To begin, we start with right understanding. This is about seeing the world clearly, without the distortions of our past beliefs or our desires. It's understanding the nature of life, that suffering is a part of it, that change is inevitable, and that everything is interconnected. When we gain this understanding, we can stop blaming ourselves or others for our pain. Instead, we accept that suffering is a natural part of existence. By accepting it, we stop running away from it, and we can begin to transform it. Then comes right intention. This is about setting the right direction in your life, the right intention behind your actions. It's easy to get lost in the hustle and bustle of daily life, reacting to situations without thinking about why we're doing what we're doing. Right intention asks us to pause, to reflect on our true motivations. Are we acting out of love, kindness, and compassion? Or are we driven by anger, jealousy, or fear? The path of healing requires us to act from a place of pure intention, from the heart, free from ego and the need for validation. After right intention, we arrive at right speech. This one is often overlooked, but it's one of the most transformative. Our words hold immense power. They can build someone up, or they can tear them down. They can bring us closer to others, or they can create walls between us. Right speech is about speaking truthfully, kindly, and with a sense of compassion. It's not just about saying the right things, but about how we say them and why we say them. If we are honest and gentle with our words, we create harmony both within ourselves and in the world around us. Next comes right action. This step teaches us that our actions matter. It's not enough to think the right thoughts. We must live in a way that reflects those thoughts. Right action means acting in ways that are ethical, non-harming, and aligned with our deeper values. This might be choosing not to gossip, to be mindful of the food we eat, or to act with generosity and care. Every action, no matter how small, shapes who we are and the world we live in. Then we come to right livelihood. Right livelihood is about making a living in a way that doesn't harm others. It's about aligning your work with your values. If your job or business creates harm, whether that's to people, animals, or the environment, it's time to reconsider. This doesn't mean you need to leave your job immediately, but it does mean that you must find a way to create a life that aligns with your deepest principles. Healing comes when we stop living lives that contradict who we are at our core. Right effort follows, and this one is crucial. Healing doesn't happen without effort. Right effort is the persistence to overcome our negative habits and tendencies. It's not about pushing yourself too hard, but about making steady, consistent efforts toward your well-being. It's about taking small steps every day with patience to let go of unhealthy patterns and replace them with positive ones. Like a plant that slowly grows toward the sunlight, your efforts, however small, will lead you to greater peace and understanding. Next, we have right mindfulness. Mindfulness is about being fully present in every moment. It's about paying attention to what is happening in your mind and body without judgment. We are often so caught up in the past or the future that we forget to experience the present. Right mindfulness brings us back to the here and now. When we are mindful, we become aware of our thoughts, our emotions, and the world around us. This awareness allows us to respond, rather than react, to life's challenges. And in doing so, we heal. Finally, we reach right concentration. This step is about developing a focused and peaceful mind. Through meditation or other practices, we train our minds to stay still and concentrated. A concentrated mind is like a calm lake, clear and undisturbed. When we have the ability to concentrate, we can observe our thoughts without being swept away by them. This concentration helps us make wise decisions and find true peace. Now, you may wonder, how do I put all of this into practice? How do I live the Eightfold Path every day? It's not an overnight transformation. It's a gradual journey that asks for patience, consistency, and a willingness to look deeply at ourselves. And the beauty of this path is that it's not just for those who are suffering. It's for anyone who wants to live a life of peace, clarity, and joy. The Eightfold Path isn't just a set of rules to follow. It's a way of life. When you live in alignment with these principles, healing begins to take place naturally. It's not about reaching some final goal or destination. It's about each moment, each step, bringing you closer to the person you are meant to be: peaceful, balanced, and whole. And as you move forward, remember that healing is not a linear process. There will be ups and downs. Some days will be easier, and some will be harder. But each step, no matter how small, brings you closer to the freedom that comes with living in harmony with yourself and the world around you. By practicing the Eightfold Path, you begin to see life with fresh eyes. You begin to understand that true healing doesn't come from others, it comes from within. The path is yours to walk, and every step you take brings you closer to the peace that has always been within you. And with time, you'll discover that you are capable of healing yourself without relying on anyone else, just as the Buddha taught. This is the power of the Eightfold Path. This is the path of self-renewal. This is the path of healing. Mindfulness, the art of living in the present. Mindfulness. It's a simple word, but its power is far greater than we realize. It's the art of being fully present, not just in the big moments, but in every little moment of your life. Imagine waking up each day, not thinking about yesterday or worrying about tomorrow, but simply experiencing each breath, each movement, each sound. Imagine living each moment fully, as it happens, with your mind and heart open, clear, and connected to the world around you. So often, we live our lives on autopilot. We go through our routines, check off tasks, talk to people, but how often are we truly present? How often do we actually experience our life? More often than not, our minds are somewhere else, lost in thought, replaying past events or racing ahead to future concerns. But the truth is, we cannot live in the past or the future. The only time we ever truly have is the present moment. In Buddhism, mindfulness is a cornerstone of personal healing and enlightenment. It's about learning to focus your attention, to live consciously, without being swept away by distractions. When you practice mindfulness, you begin to observe your thoughts and emotions without judgment as they arise. You don't try to push them away, and you don't get caught up in them. You simply notice them, acknowledge them, and let them pass. It's a practice that brings peace and clarity because, in that moment, you are fully alive and present. The key to mindfulness is awareness. Awareness of your body, your breath, your surroundings, your thoughts, and your feelings. This awareness doesn't require anything special or out of the ordinary. You don't need to be in a quiet temple or on a mountaintop. You don't need to meditate for hours on end. The power of mindfulness can be practiced anywhere, at any time. It's the ability to bring your full attention to whatever you're doing, whether it's eating, walking, talking, or even just sitting in silence. Let's take a moment to understand the power of breathing. When you focus on your breath, you reconnect with yourself. You feel the rise and fall of your chest, the flow of air into your lungs. Your breath is always with you, always available, always reminding you that you are alive in this very moment. Just pausing for a few seconds to notice your breath can bring you into the present, clearing your mind and soothing your soul. And it's not just about the big moments of your day. Mindfulness teaches us to be present in the small, everyday actions that we often overlook. When was the last time you really noticed the warmth of the sun on your skin, the sound of the wind, or the taste of your food? These are simple experiences, yet they hold so much beauty and wisdom. By being mindful, you begin to see the richness of life in every moment, even in the most ordinary things. The practice of mindfulness can change your entire perspective on life. Instead of feeling overwhelmed by the chaos of the world, you begin to experience life as it truly is, vibrant, alive, and full of wonder. You stop rushing from one task to the next, and instead, you start savoring the present moment. Every moment becomes precious. Every experience becomes meaningful. And slowly, you realize that the peace you've been searching for isn't something external. It's inside you, right here and right now. But mindfulness isn't always easy. Our minds are naturally restless, constantly jumping from one thought to the next. But the key is patience and persistence. Just like training a muscle, the more you practice mindfulness, the stronger it becomes. You'll find that, over time, it becomes easier to be present, to let go of distractions, and to focus your mind. One powerful aspect of mindfulness is learning to observe your thoughts without becoming attached to them. It's easy to get caught up in our emotions, our anxieties, or our worries. But when you practice mindfulness, you begin to see your thoughts as they're just thoughts. They don't define you, and they don't control you. You can acknowledge them and then let them go. This is true freedom, the ability to experience life without being carried away by your thoughts. It's also important to remember that mindfulness is not about achieving perfection. It's not about getting rid of negative thoughts or emotions. It's about accepting them as they are and understanding that they are temporary. Just like the weather, your thoughts will come and go. Some days will be easier than others, and that's okay. The goal is not to judge yourself, but to simply notice what's happening and be present with it. The benefits of mindfulness extend beyond just peace of mind. It can improve your relationships, your health, and your overall well-being. When you are truly present with others, you listen more deeply, understand more clearly, and connect more genuinely. In relationships, mindfulness helps you to be more compassionate and patient because you are able to truly see the other person without the filters of your own judgments and distractions. Mindfulness also has profound physical benefits. Studies have shown that mindfulness can reduce stress, lower blood pressure, and improve sleep. When we are stressed, our bodies react in ways that can harm our health. But when we practice mindfulness, we activate the parasympathetic nervous system, which helps us relax and heal. It's a powerful tool for managing stress and improving our physical health. As we live in a world that is increasingly fast-paced and distracting, mindfulness offers us a chance to slow down, to reconnect with ourselves, and to rediscover the simple joys of life. It's a practice that invites us to step off the treadmill of constant activity and just be. To breathe, to listen, to see, to feel. And in doing so, we awaken to the beauty that is already all around us. When you embrace mindfulness, you begin to understand that healing isn't just about fixing something broken. It's about returning to your natural state of being, where peace and happiness already reside. In the present moment, you are whole. You are enough. There is nothing more you need to find, because everything you need is right here, right now. So, take a moment today. Close your eyes. Breathe deeply. And just be present. Notice the simple beauty of the world around you. You don't have to do anything extraordinary. Just breathe. Just be. Just live in the moment. This is the beginning of mindfulness, the beginning of healing yourself from within. Karma and letting go, releasing the past gently. There is a story often told in Zen circles, one that speaks to the heart of our human condition. A young monk once came to his master, frustrated and confused by the suffering he had experienced throughout his life. "Master," he asked, Why do bad things keep happening to me? Why am I burdened by all the weight of my past actions, my mistakes, and the things I cannot change? The Zen master looked at him quietly, then responded with a simple question. Tell me, young one, have you ever seen a cloud carry the weight of the rain it once held? The monk paused, confused by the question. No, master. The cloud releases the rain, and the sky remains clear. Exactly, the master said. Your karma, like the rain, does not need to be carried forever. It has its time, it serves its purpose, and then it moves on. It is not your burden to keep. The question is, will you let it go, or will you carry it endlessly, like a cloud forever holding the rain? This teaching encapsulates a core principle of Buddhist thought. Karma, the law of cause and effect, is not something that must imprison us. It is not a life sentence of punishment. Karma is simply the result of actions, thoughts, and words. But just as a cloud does not forever hold on to the rain, we too do not need to carry the weight of our past forever. We often think of karma in terms of punishment, as if we are paying for past misdeeds. But this is a misunderstanding. In truth, karma is a reflection of our actions and attitudes, both good and bad, and the results they bring. The past is already past. The actions we've taken, the mistakes we've made, and the paths we've chosen are behind us. They no longer exist except in our minds. And yet, how often do we hold on to them, letting them shape our present and future? We may still carry the guilt, the anger, the regret, or even the shame from things that no longer exist in the world, but live only in our memories. It's as if we're holding on to a bag full of stones, thinking that somehow they define us, or worse, that we deserve to carry them. We can become so attached to the past that we forget how to move forward. But healing begins when we realize that letting go is not about forgetting or erasing what has happened. Letting go is about freeing ourselves from the emotional weight, the attachment, and the suffering that we continue to carry because we mistakenly believe we have to. Letting go is like opening a door that has been locked for years, releasing the pent-up energy that has been held behind it. We often think that in order to heal, we must fix the past, that we must somehow change what has already occurred. But this is an illusion. The past is not something we can change. What we can change is how we relate to it, how we allow it to affect us, and how we carry its weight. In Buddhism, the concept of letting go is closely tied to the idea of non-attachment. This does not mean that we stop caring, that we abandon our responsibilities, or that we become cold and indifferent to the world. It means releasing our tight grip on the things, people, and outcomes that we believe define us. It means surrendering the need to control and accepting that life unfolds as it will. When we can do this, we begin to experience a profound sense of freedom. The practice of letting go is not something that happens overnight. It is a gradual process, much like the cloud releasing its rain. We may find ourselves holding on to old wounds, old regrets, or old desires. But with time, we can begin to loosen our grip. And as we do, we start to experience the clarity that comes with releasing the past. It's like removing a veil from our eyes, allowing us to see the world as it truly is. One of the simplest ways to practice letting go is through mindfulness. When we become fully present in each moment, we begin to realize that the past only exists in our minds. We start to see that the only thing we truly have is this moment, and in this moment, we are free. The more we practice mindfulness, the more we realize that the stories we tell ourselves about who we are, about our past, our mistakes, our regrets, are just that, stories. They are not truths. They are just narratives that we have woven around ourselves, often to protect ourselves or make sense of our pain. But these stories do not define us. The real you, the true you, is free from the past. You are not the sum of your mistakes, your regrets, or your misfortunes. You are not the labels that others have placed upon you. You are not your karma. You are simply a being in this moment, capable of letting go and choosing a new path forward. This is where the wisdom of Buddhism shines brightest. It teaches us that suffering is not inherent in our experiences. It is born from our attachment to them. The more we cling to the past, the more we suffer. But when we begin to let go, we open ourselves to healing. We free ourselves from the weight of old karma, and we allow ourselves to create a new future, unburdened by what has come before. It is important to remember that letting go is not a passive act. It is a practice, a conscious decision to release what no longer serves us. It requires courage, patience, and compassion for ourselves. When we let go, we are not abandoning our past. We are simply acknowledging that it no longer has power over us. We are giving ourselves permission to move forward. In the same way that a tree sheds its leaves each autumn, we too must shed what is no longer needed. The leaves fall away, making space for new growth. This is the cycle of life, and it is natural. Just as nature does not fight against the changing seasons, we too must learn to let go of what no longer serves us. We must trust that new growth will come, even when we cannot see it yet. The beauty of letting go is that it is not about forgetting. It is about releasing the emotional and mental weight that keeps us tied to the past. When we can let go of the past, we allow ourselves to be fully present in our lives, experiencing each moment as it is, without the burden of what has come before. This is where true healing begins. And so, my dear friend, as you walk this path, remember that karma is not something to fear or dread. It is simply the natural law of cause and effect. It does not have to define your life or your future. The past is not your burden to carry forever. Just as the cloud releases the rain, you too can release your past, and in doing so, you will make space for healing, for peace, and for a new beginning. The practice of letting go may be difficult at times, but it is the key to freedom. It is through this process of release that we open ourselves to the true peace that comes from within. Let go of the past, and you will find that your mind, your heart, and your spirit will be lighter, clearer, and ready to embrace the present moment with all of its beauty and potential. Inner peace as a daily practice, building a sacred routine. When we talk about inner peace, it's not just a distant dream or something we get a glimpse of only in moments of silence or when everything around us is calm. True inner peace is something we can cultivate, something that becomes a part of our daily lives. Just like a plant that requires sunlight, water, and care to grow, our inner peace needs consistent attention, practice, and nurturing. It doesn't happen overnight, but with small steps every day, it becomes a part of who we are. We live in a world that constantly demands our attention. There are always distractions, social media, work, family, responsibilities, and countless thoughts running through our minds. It can feel like the noise never stops. But here's the truth, the noise is not the problem. The problem is how we react to it. The peace we are seeking is not something outside of us, waiting to be found when the world calms down. It's something that can be found by turning inward, by tuning out the distractions and listening to the stillness within. You see, peace does not come from changing the world around us. It comes from changing how we relate to the world. Think about it for a moment. The world around us may be chaotic, but if we can learn to quiet our minds, to sit with ourselves in the midst of that chaos, we can find peace right here, right now. Inner peace is not something that is separate from us. It is not a far-off goal we can only reach in some future time. It is here, within us, waiting to be uncovered. This is where mindfulness comes in. Mindfulness is the practice of being fully present in each moment, without judgment. It's about noticing the thoughts, the feelings, the sensations we experience without getting caught up in them. We often get swept away by the rush of our thoughts, by the pull of our emotions. But when we practice mindfulness, we begin to see those thoughts and emotions for what they are, just passing clouds in the sky of our minds. They don't define us. They come and go, and we can choose how we respond. It's easy to think that peace will come when we get everything right, when we've figured out our lives, our relationships, our careers, when we've solved all our problems. But peace doesn't wait for us to be perfect. In fact, peace often comes when we embrace our imperfections. It comes when we accept ourselves as we are, when we let go of the need for things to be any different than they are. This doesn't mean we stop striving for growth or improvement, but it means we learn to find peace in the process, in the journey, rather than in some distant destination. One of the most powerful ways to cultivate inner peace is to create a sacred routine. A routine is not about rigidly following a set of rules or obligations. It's about creating space in your life for practices that nurture your soul, that bring you back to yourself. It's about making time for the things that reconnect you with your inner truth, with your essence. This routine can look different for each person. For some, it might be waking up early in the morning and spending a few minutes in silence, breathing deeply and focusing on the present moment. For others, it might be taking a walk in nature, feeling the earth beneath your feet and the air in your lungs. The key is consistency. Just as we need to water a plant regularly to ensure it thrives, we must feed our inner peace every day. It could be through meditation, through prayer, through mindful breathing, or simply by taking a few moments to sit quietly and reflect on the day. The important part is that we make it a non-negotiable part of our day. Imagine how different your life would feel if you took just 10 or 15 minutes each morning to center yourself before the busyness of the day takes over. In those quiet moments, you are building a foundation for peace that will carry you through whatever the day may bring. In the beginning, it may feel awkward or difficult. Your mind may resist. You may wonder if it's really making a difference. But just like any new habit, the more you do it, the easier it becomes. Over time, you will begin to notice a shift. You will find yourself responding to the challenges of life with more calmness, with more clarity, and with a deeper sense of peace. The routine doesn't need to be long or complicated. It could be as simple as sitting still for 5 minutes, noticing your breath, and letting go of any tension in your body. The power of these moments is not in their length, but in their consistency. It's about showing up for yourself every day, creating a space where peace can enter, and trusting that the more you do it, the more natural it becomes. And this peace? It will ripple outwards. When we find peace within ourselves, it affects the way we interact with the world around us. We are more patient, more compassionate, and more present with others. Our relationships improve, our work becomes more meaningful, and our experience of life deepens. It's important to understand that inner peace is not about escaping the world or avoiding difficulties. Life will always have its ups and downs. But when we have a daily practice that centers us, we become more resilient. We don't react to life with the same intensity or frustration. We become more grounded, more mindful, and more at ease with whatever comes our way. In Buddhism, this practice is often referred to as taking refuge in ourselves. We learn to rely not on the external world, but on our own inner wisdom, our own ability to find peace and clarity, no matter what life throws our way. The Buddha taught that peace is available to all of us, no matter our circumstances. It's a practice, a habit, that we cultivate each day. In our fast-paced, distraction-filled world, it's easy to forget the importance of stillness. But by making peace a daily practice, we begin to change the way we relate to ourselves and to the world around us. We become more present, more aware, and more at ease. And that is the foundation for a life of healing and transformation. So ask yourself, what small change can you make today to create a little more peace in your life? It could be something simple, a few minutes of quiet in the morning, a breath before responding to a difficult situation, or a moment of gratitude before you fall asleep at night. These small steps, taken consistently, will lead you to a life of deeper peace, a life that feels more grounded, more centered, and more connected to your true self. Inner peace is not a destination, it's a journey. And like any journey, it begins with one small step. If you make that step today, tomorrow will be just a little bit easier, a little bit calmer, and a little bit more peaceful. And that peace will continue to grow, nurturing you and everything around you. The more you practice, the more natural it will become. And one day, you will realize that peace is no longer something you have to seek, but something that is always with you, always within you. You are the healer, embracing the freedom within. As we reach the final part of this journey, I want you to pause for a moment and reflect on something profound. You've walked through the steps, learned, absorbed, and most importantly, you've begun to see things differently. Now, I want you to fully understand one simple truth. You are the healer. It may sound strange at first. After all, you've spent so much of your life looking outside yourself for solutions. You've asked others for advice, sought comfort in the words of family and friends, maybe even relied on professional help. But the most powerful healing, the deepest transformation, always begins within. You may have been taught to look outward for change, But the key to everything lies in understanding that you hold the power to heal yourself. Imagine you are holding a key in your hand, a key that opens a door to peace, to inner freedom, and to the life you've always wanted. For years, you may have searched for that key, believing it was somewhere out there, outside of you. But now, in this moment, you realize you've always had it. This key has always been with you, quietly resting within your heart and mind. It's the wisdom of self-awareness, the strength of mindfulness, the clarity of compassion for yourself. You see, healing isn't just about fixing what's broken or mending what's wounded. It's about understanding that you are whole, even in your imperfection. In Buddhism, we are taught that suffering is part of life, and that is true. But suffering is not our destiny. It's not something we are meant to live with forever. The key to overcoming it is to change our relationship with it. Instead of resisting pain or pushing it away, we learn to sit with it, observe it, and let it teach us. When we stop seeing pain as something to avoid and instead see it as a teacher, it loses its power over us. This doesn't mean that we become cold or detached. On the contrary, it's the opposite. When you truly understand that you have the power to heal yourself, you also begin to open your heart in ways you never thought possible. Healing is a process of self-love, and self-love is not about being perfect. It's about accepting yourself, flaws and all, and loving yourself through the process of growth. You are the healer because no one else can truly know your pain as you do. No one else can feel the way you feel, and no one else can walk your path. When you realize that healing comes from within, you become empowered. You stop looking for someone else to fix your life. You stop waiting for things to change before you can be happy. You stop believing that you need approval or validation from others in order to be at peace. There's a beautiful concept in Buddhism called equanimity. It's a state of inner balance, a calmness that comes from seeing things as they truly are, without getting swept away by them. Equanimity doesn't mean that you won't feel emotions or experience difficulties. It means that you won't be controlled by them. You become like a tree, rooted deeply in the ground, bending and swaying with the wind, but never breaking. When you embody equanimity, you become the healer of your own mind and heart. You may have heard the saying, "You can't pour from an empty cup." It's true. If you don't take care of yourself first, you won't have the energy or strength to help others. The healing journey is not selfish, it's essential. The more you heal yourself, the more you are able to help others in meaningful ways. But it begins with you. It always has. So, take a moment now to reflect on how far you've come. You've already started the process of healing. Every step you've taken toward understanding your inner world, every time you've practiced mindfulness, every moment of self-compassion, it all adds up. You are not the same person you were when you started this journey. You have changed, and you continue to change. And that change is the greatest gift you can give yourself. Healing isn't about reaching some perfect state of being. It's not about erasing all of your pain or eliminating all of your challenges. It's about making peace with yourself, knowing that you are enough as you are. It's about seeing your life, your struggles, your pain, with compassion and understanding. It's about allowing yourself to be human, to be imperfect, and to know that this is okay. You don't need to be anything more than you already are. You are the healer, not because you have all the answers, but because you have the ability to listen to yourself, to trust yourself, and to move through life with greater awareness. Healing isn't an end goal, it's a way of living. It's the choice to approach every moment with mindfulness, with love, and with compassion, starting with yourself. The more you cultivate these qualities within yourself, the more they will naturally radiate outward, transforming everything around you. As you walk forward in your life, remember, you have everything you need to heal. It's within you. You are the key. And now that you know this, there is nothing stopping you. You are free to create the life you've always wanted. You are free to heal, to grow, and to embrace the peace that is your birthright. So, I leave you with this thought. Healing is not a destination, it's a journey. And that journey? It starts with you, and it ends with you. You are the healer. Embrace your freedom. Embrace your power. You are whole. You are complete. You are enough. Thank you for being part of this journey with me. May your path be filled with peace, wisdom, and healing. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel if this journey has touched you in any way. Your thoughts are valuable, and we'd love to hear them in the comments.